Hello Commanders and welcome to this video for Infinite Lagrange. Today I will have something very special for you because most of you already know I have a very nice neighbor. Damphyre is directly next to me and you also see it's the end of the season, so we thought why not fight to the end. So both of us did set up a very strong aircraft fleet and I wanted to test a few additional things, so I brought in some other ships that I usually do not use so much. The Mare Tranquillatis and there in special the... God, the game is slow today. The Pulse Cannon version. The Pulse Cannon version because it got a really good anti-air damage. And if you skill it, I can show this to you, it got the strategy that it can attack enemy aircraft in the nearby rows every 30 seconds for 25 seconds. So most of the time this will be active. Very nice. Should do a ton of damage, 4300. And these ships are very cheap, only 4 command points per ship. I also brought in the Mare Nubium anti-aircraft version, also 4331 damage, bringing in anti-aircraft UAV systems, and of course the Xeno Stinger anti-aircraft version, the defensive type, also bringing in UAV anti-aircraft systems. Now I would love to have bring the light cone. Unfortunately, I don't have the light cone anti-aircraft. I did talk with Damphyre before and he told me he tested it out extensively last season and it did not do much on side of anti-aircraft. So he said it just doesn't work. Now you can see here, this is a fleet I brought in. I reinforced with my 5 solar whales. I do have the chimeras in the front. Predators are there for additional fighters, and they also have the tactical UAVs. And as already said, all these frigates I brought in. I brought in really a very heavy anti-aircraft fleet. Vitas A021, also very nice in anti-ship damage. Cellular defenders, nebula chasers, and of course the top tier ships, the CVT-800. You see here, scrolling through that list, he got the ST-59, bringing in 4 aircrafts each of them. He prefers to use the destroyers to bring in aircrafts, which I understand if you want to go fast. Combined with the ST-59, you lose that advantage, definitely. He got a very strong front line with Carillions, Rubies. In the middle he got 2 different versions of the Railiet. The Stealth is a very good tank as well as doing system damage. And here comes also the Strix A100. You can see in the middle part there is really a lot going on here. It is crazy how much is getting destroyed, how quickly. The B010 are amazing ships when it comes to anti-ship damage, but I didn't bring them this time because, as said, we knew we will fight meta fleets, and the B010 do not bring any anti-aircraft. So, as you can see here, the screen is super busy. There's so much flying around everywhere. It is just crazy. The game is throwing out voice messages and trying to keep up rendering all this stuff. I want to take a look at the CV3000 here from Damphyre. They have this very nice paint job on them. And he got them upgraded, so they also bring in 11 aircrafts, very nice, and they are a little bit faster than my solar whales. Let's go a little bit further. Here we can see how the front line and the middle line performs. Let's go a little bit more into the end of the fight. So you can see here, I still have quite a few ships in the front line, but a lot already moved to the middle line. While the percentage looks very close, you can also see I was able to clean up a lot of his aircrafts very quickly, and the fight was super intense, especially at the beginning. I was very worried how that will end because Damphyre got quite a lot of really good ships there. Okay, so let's take a look at the battle report. And this is one of the most interesting battle reports I ever went through. You can see the fight took very, very long, over 8 minutes. At the end, Damphyre retreated because honestly, there was no need to kill off the CV3000 and the remaining ST59. It probably also would have taken a long time. You can see everything else got destroyed. So there's extensive damage done here. I got pretty lucky. A lot of my ships survived. I lost 2 Nubiums, not really much. Obviously, all my Carillions went to the middle row, and therefore most of them survived. The Chimeras took a lot of damage, and I lost 3 of them. Besides that, all Heredrums got killed beside 1. And I'm still not convinced they do very well. You can see he did a lot of anti-aircraft damage, so I did lose my Nebula Chasers, the Cellular Defenders. And he disabled one of the solar veils, which means I lose the main hangar. And that also would take out, or took out then, some of my aircrafts, of course. Now let's take a look at the battle stats. I did around 400,000 anti-aircraft damage. He did 220,000. You will see with the survival time. I put all of this in an Excel sheet, so give me 1 second to go there. It will be easier to see how fast some things went out there. As said, it was an 8-minute fight. And I also will have all the damage there. So, but just for you, if you want to go through this, I will slowly scroll down. You can pause the video at any point if you're interested in specific values. We already talked about the fleet setup, and I will also go through this again a little bit when we look at the damage numbers and draw our conclusion, meaning what ships are really worth taking with you, especially if you fight versus a meta fleet. Now, one thing we will see, it looks like Damphyre made a small mistake, and one of his CV3000s seems to have been emptied without any aircraft. So, battle results, HP change, not really so much to look at. But yeah, let's switch over to the Excel sheet and see what happened there. So, here we are. So first, let's take a look at my ships and my fleet. I did normalize the values, meaning if a ship survived like 19%, I do calculate the overall damage by like multiplying it with 5, or in this case dividing it by 19%. So I am able to compare these values. You saw the final values already in the battle report, but if these ships would survive longer, and I mean you still see the survival time, let's start with the anti-aircraft, because for sure that is one of the most interesting parts. Now, the CVT-800, the Spores, the Sandrake, and also the Xeno AA survived pretty long. And the CVT-800 did the most anti-aircraft damage by far. For the CVT-800, I did calculate with the Predator and the Solar Veil how many CPs I needed to bring in these ships, and then I use this for the CP of these ships, or the aircrafts directly, so that we get a good idea how much damage, because if I want to compare a Xeno to a CVT-800, I need to know how many CP I need there. Now, for the CVT-800, honestly, it doesn't matter, but for the Sandrake, so the question for me would be, is it better to bring a Sandrake or a Xeno AA? And as you can see here, for anti-aircraft damage, the Sandrake did 52,000, the Xenos did 36,000. They are very close in anti-aircraft normalized, because my Xenos only survived 82% of the time. Both of them require the same amount of CP, if we consider that you have to bring in like some Predators or the Solar Veils. Now, if we take a look at the value of the Predators, they don't add any damage here. So there's nothing they bring in beside the ships you put on them. Let's sort this by anti-ship damage, and we will see the hydrants are here, but they are nearly half of the damage of the CVT-800. The Cellular Defender and Nebula Chaser, they do so much better. What would I bring in for anti-aircraft if I look at my fleet? Of course, CVT-800s, definitely top of the line. Spores, still very good, and they will also bring in some nice anti-ship damage after they kill off the anti-aircraft. I would not really bring in the Centrics. Obviously, all my anti-aircraft ships, maybe the Xenos, they did okay, at least like 1.1 anti-aircraft normalized over the survival per command point, so that is still okay. I would not bring in the Mare Num or the Mare Tranquillus. They just don't bring in enough damage there. So I would not take them. As said, I'm pretty disappointed by the Hayredens. I would not bring in them. Now, the Carillion, the Chimera, if we take a look at the anti-ship damage, where are they? The Chimera are pretty good, and they are my frontline tank ships. Of course, I would take them. And the Carillion would always be taken because they have such a nice high evade. So, of course, I would take them. Nebula Chaser, Cellular Defender, amazing anti-ship damage. Both of them did not survive very long, but they brought in a lot of anti-ship damage. And especially, keep in mind, I only brought 5 Cellular Defenders there. I would definitely bring more Cellular Defenders. I would not bring the Hayredens anymore. And I'm not even sure if I would continue bringing in the Vitas. The Vitas are a little bit of a mix because they can also damage enemy systems, so they might be okay. But the yellow ones, I would still bring them in. Now let's take a look at Damphyre's ships and how they performed. If we take a look at the anti-aircraft, and this is something very interesting, the Strix did better than the Centric for him. Of course, also the CVT-800, top, Spore, top. And then we do have the Strix. Unfortunately, all of these ships didn't do any anti-ship damage, which makes sense because I did kill his aircrafts way too fast. He had no chance to do any anti-ship damage because they were already killed off before my aircrafts were down, so they were only engaging in anti-aircraft fights. But I would bring in the Strix instead of the Spore. The Strix instead of the Centric. So take this, yeah, as a recommendation. I didn't expect that the Strix would perform better than the Centric. Unfortunately, none of us had Mistrals. Mistrals should be very, very good. Everything else here doesn't do any anti-aircraft damage. Now let's take a look at the anti-ship damage. So everything that didn't get engaged in anti-aircraft was going directly for my ships. And of course the Vitas B, the Cellular Defender. Vitas B, I said in my tier list already, they are real monsters when it comes to anti-ship damage. I just didn't take them in my fleet because it was meta fleet versus meta fleet, and I knew they have no chance of survival. You see here, they were the ships destroyed first, 6% survival time. But if we consider the 6%, if they would survive longer, because you have a better anti-aircraft support, they will do a ton of damage. I was surprised how well his Rayliard Torpedo did. I use the stealth version of them because they also can do system damage, and they have a very good evade in the second line. His torpedo versions also did a lot of damage. Both of them very close together. Same as the Ruby Iron. This thing is a monster. Doing even better in this fight than the Xeno Special. Now, I do use this Xeno Special a lot because it does perform pretty well. But you can see the Ruby Iron is better. Unfortunately, I don't have the Iron version yet. But bringing in both of them, because you can put tech points in these two different ships. Absolutely worth it. Nebula Pulse, you saw this in my calculation here. They did very, very well for me. I did just kill his off very quickly. I would still bring them in. I probably wouldn't bring in the Stingray. I wouldn't bring in the Void Elfin. Of course, same here. The Carillion did very well. His Guardian didn't bring in any additional damage. A little bit for anti-ship, but nothing that really matters. The AC 721 also not so. There's no damage brought in by this. Take a look at Damphyre's channel. He will also upload a video for this or about this fight from his perspective. And yeah, take a look at that and let us know if you want to have more videos like this, and maybe even if you want to have us talking together about some of these fights and analyze them. Till then, as usual, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video again.